Good afternoon and welcome to this afternoon's Discover the University of California, Merced Spotlight on the School of Social Sciences, Humanities and Arts. My name is Adam Miller and I'm an events coordinator here with the University of California, Merced's Office of Admissions, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to today's webinar. Before we begin, just a quick few housekeeping procedures. To adjust your volume, it's located in the bottom left of your computer screen. As we're going through today's presentation, if you have any questions for the panel, please submit those through the question and answer portion at the bottom of your screen. As you're looking at all the questions, if you have the same question, you can also hit the thumbs up button to upvote that, and we will see how many of the questions have been upvoted for this. We'll be responding to your questions either through the text chat in the Q&A module, or for some of your questions, we will also take them and answer them live on the computer screen. It is now my pleasure to introduce my colleague, Abraham Lopez. Abe?
Hi, everyone. My name is Abraham Lopez. I cover the North Central Valley region in counties in Calaveras, Madera, Mariposa, Merced, San Joaquin, Stanislaus, and Tuolumne. My hometown here is in Merced, so I look forward to answering any of your questions. Thank you. I want to pass it on to my colleague, Timothy Ford.
Thank you, Abraham. Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Timothy Ford, and I represent the Northern California region for the Office of Admissions. I am also looking forward to answering any of your questions in the chat as well, too. And I'd like to turn over to my colleague, Ann Zenzuti.
Great, thank you. Welcome, everyone. We're really excited to see you today, and our presentation is going to be interactive, and I'm going to just shift to sharing my screen to highlight a couple of slides. And we'll talk a little bit about the format for the presentation then. So welcome to the School of Social Sciences, Humanities and Arts. We have several presenters here today, so we're going to take a moment to introduce ourselves, starting with Brenda.
Hello, everyone. My name is Brenda Maldonado Rosas. I'm the Director of Student Services for the School of Social Sciences, Humanities and Arts. I oversee any of the student support services that our school provides to students who are majoring and minoring within our school. One thing I love about our programs and our school in general is how interdisciplinary each of our majors and minors are, and the vast array of options students are able to incorporate into their own program to really make their majors and minors their own. I'll pass it on now to Megan.
Thanks, Brenda. Welcome, everybody. My name is Megan Topete. I'm the Assistant Dean for Student and Instructional Services in our school. We call it SHAW for short, School of Social Sciences, Humanities and Arts. I work with our Undergraduate Academic Advising Unit, Graduate Services, and Instructional Services. So we oversee and work to schedule your classes, support you as students, and work with our faculty to make sure all of your curriculum lines up the way that it should. I've been working in Shaw for 12.5 years. I've been in a couple different roles, and one of the things that I love about working in Shaw and at UC Merced is that I am a Valley native myself, and I'm also a Shaw student myself, not at UC Merced, but at one of our sister campuses. And so I love working with our faculty, I love working with our students, and I hope that one day we would be working directly with you. So I'm going to hand it on to Ann.
Well, welcome, everyone. My name is Ann Zanzuki. I'm the Associate Dean in the school, and I'm also faculty in Writing Studies. And in my role, I get the chance to work with quite a few students, which is a real highlight. So that could be in petition and special processes. It's also with clubs and organizations. Megan and I meet routinely with our student government representatives from the school. And Brenda and I meet regularly with a leadership association that we have in our school as well. And so there's lots of opportunities for students in our school. And I would say that's the thing that I really appreciate about Shaw, is that there's a lot of community among all of us. And there are some really creative opportunities for undergraduates to be involved in all kinds of things, whether it's clubs and organizations, research opportunities, our campus and our school really has a lot of forums and opportunities to grow and to try out all kinds of things. And so that is part of what makes our school a really special place. So Brenda and I are going to be facilitating some part of the presentation today, and Megan is going to be working with some of the questions that we hope you will post in the Q&A board there. And please know that the way the presentation is set up is that we have it broken into big topics, and we'll take a moment to pause after we've gone through a little bit of sharing information to make sure that we take a moment to talk about the questions and thoughts that are in the Q&A board. And we may ask questions of each other too, just to kind of keep the conversation going. So, so we'll have plenty of time to pause and make sure that we're responding to questions that you may have. So I'll kick things off by telling you a little bit about the mission and vision for our school. And then Brenda's going to tell us a bit about why a degree in SHA at UC Merced. And then we'll take a moment to also talk about our departments and programs and what's exciting and distinctive about our academic programming. Then we'll take a look at internships and research experiences, because that's something that our school is highly engaged in, and we'll tell you a little bit about those opportunities. And then at the end of those segments, we'll also take time to just regroup and see if there's big picture questions that you'd like to talk about. All right, so we'll get started here. So the School of Social Sciences, Humanities and Arts. So something to think about with our campus in general is that our campus is relatively young, and it is highly interdisciplinary. And by that, that means that there's opportunities to think in connected ways about all kinds of questions. And that is something that's really distinctive to our campus. We also have a high degree of contact among instructors and students. And so we have small classrooms. There's an opportunity to work really closely with faculty, to also get to know teaching assistants, and to really be part of the atmosphere of a research university. And so part of being a new university is that there's a lot of opportunity for interaction. That's very much like a liberal arts college education, with a vibrant general education program, really exciting and innovative degree programs, and a wide variety of undergraduate research opportunities. We have students who are from all over the state, and their motivations to be part of our campus are things that draw us together. And that can be the opportunity to innovate, an opportunity to discover and be part of inquiry. And so that's an exciting community component of our campus. And the Central Valley, it's an exciting place, and it's a place that is becoming something we're more and more aware of as part of California. And Merced as a city has grown considerably. I've been part of campus since it opened in 2005, and it's absolutely incredible to see all the changes that have happened in a short period of time, largely because of the relationship between the city and the university. So that's another really cool thing about where we are and how things are happening. So to tell you a little bit about our school, the mission for what we do is that we really think about the human condition and society, both past and present, and how that is expressed through art, culture, institution, behavior, and ideas. We have a really intellectually diverse community, and we're very focused on teaching and service and kinds of research that's highly engaged. And so for students who are part of our school, we're really developing critical thinkers, creativity, conscientiousness, active global citizenship, and a desire to learn outside of the university and beyond. So that's just a little bit about our campus and a vision for our school. And I'm going to pause here before we get into why a degree at our school, just in case there might be some questions already.
Thanks so much, Anne. There aren't any questions yet, but I do want to share that all participants should feel empowered to ask a question via the Q&A button at the very bottom of your screen. And like Adam mentioned, we should be able to answer them both live and via text on the Q&A screen. So thank you, Anne.
Great. All right. Thanks, Megan. Well, I'm going to switch to Brenda, and we'll talk a little more about the degree programs we have at our school, and then we'll pause and make sure that we get a chance to talk again. Brenda.
Thank you, Anne. So at UC Merced, specifically within our school, like I mentioned earlier, our school is very interdisciplinary, and what that means is our programs are designed in a way where each program studies, although they specify in their own area, they do incorporate into or within other subjects or fields of study, if you will. So not only do we look at historical dimensions of humans and their existence, but also the concepts of citizenship, community, artistic and literary expression, diverse institutions and cultures, neuroscience, cognition, language. So really looking at a person and a human as a whole. And like I mentioned earlier during my introduction, it is one of the things I enjoy most about Shaw because of how interdisciplinary our programs can be and how students are really able to make their programs of study one that is more specific to fit their own interests and thoughts and questions in the field of study that they are going through. Research is something that our students are able to partake in very early on in their time at UC Merced. With UC Merced being a research campus and being the size that we are, it really does enable students to make connections with faculty and work directly with faculty in particular, the research that each of our faculty members are partaking in. The research experiences that they can do or partake in can be done via independent studies, which is a way for students to earn academic credit for the research that they are conducting with faculty, volunteering, lab science work, field work, so having more hands-on experience out in the field, engaging within the community and partaking in research via those modes directly. Collaborations, publications, we've had many students be able to be part of faculty publications, so it's really a great way for students to, by the time they graduate, to leave with that hands-on experience and that publication, if you will, for their next step upon leaving UC Merced. We have centers and institutes as well in a wide array of different areas. And really partaking in research allows students to, again, not only get some hands-on experience and more in-depth study into their fields of interest, but it really allows them to leave UC Merced with some great recommendations from their faculty. So if they're thinking of going to post-secondary schools, graduate schools, if you will, they're able to have, again, be able to obtain some really good letters of recommendation from the faculty they've worked with directly. Graduate school and pathways, our school has sent about 1,500 students to graduate school, being the highest number total by a school within UC Merced. So that's something we are definitely very proud of. Shaw students, many of whom are from historically underrepresented and first-generation backgrounds, aspire to and do attend professional and graduate schools. And also pursuing graduate degrees tends to be a wide variety of doctoral programs, as well as advanced professional degrees in fine arts, education, social work, law, and law school are very popular. We like to help students think outside the box, if you will, where we help have them see that you don't have to major, for example, in biological sciences to go on to medical school or to go into a medical field. And you don't necessarily have to major within political sciences to go into law school. So that is something that we enjoy working with our students in terms of teaching them the different pathways that they do have to get to graduate school. Career services, we do have Careers with Shaw Degrees program. This past spring, there was a panel that included discussions with alumni from Shaw that were part of, we're now working with Aerotech, Wells Fargo, Creative Alternatives, Autism Learning Partners, and Me Too. And you can see on your screen in parentheses the programs or the majors that those students graduated from UC Merced within Shaw with. This fall semester, there's panel discussions featuring different service pathways. So for example, Peace Corps, bioanthropology specializations, and media careers, again, to continue to educate students on the different pathways that they can partake in within their Shaw majors once they leave UC Merced and they enter the workforce. There's also a career and internship fair, which is a great way for students to network and have their resumes reviewed via dinner, generally when we're able to be in person. But it is something that, or it is an event that has been offered every year for students and is very successful. Within Shaw, regardless of what your major is, you can go into a wide variety of different professions, right? You can go into education, go into computer design, be a neuroscientist, data analyst, a consultant, accountant. Really the possibilities are endless career-wise for students after graduating from UC Merced with the Shaw degree. So the skills and skill set you develop while you're at UC Merced, specifically within Shaw, make you a very well-rounded, robust individual with many different career options available to you. So what's important to you, right? You will get a mind-opening education opportunities. You'll learn alongside others like you and those that are different than you. And you'll develop and grow transferable skills such as decision-making, communication, self and society, scientific literacy, leadership, and teamwork. Again, really the skills that you develop within studying as part of a Shaw major are really, really transferable, and as you saw in the previous slide, can lead to a wide array of different career options and possibilities for our students and alumni.
Thanks, Brenda. We do have a couple questions that have come in. Depending on how y'all would like to take it, they could bounce between both you and Anne. The first question, which I think you covered a little bit in some of your slides, but is more specific to UC Merced in general. How might you talk about diversity, or how is diversity at UC Merced and Shaw?
And I think you might know the statistics a little better than I do off the top of my head. we are pretty diverse. I believe we are possibly the most diverse school within our campus. Like I mentioned earlier, the majority of our students are first-generation college students. I don't know the percentage, perhaps, maybe, I don't know if you do, Anne, but not only with our students, I believe our faculty are also, oh, there it is, our faculty are also fairly diverse in comparison to the other schools within our campus.
Brenda, I'm glad you mentioned faculty, and I'm also thinking about grad students, that many of the faculty are first in their family to attend college as well, and historically underrepresented. So there is often in classrooms conversations about joining the academy or pathways. And so it is exciting that our campus is diverse on multiple levels in terms of lots of different life experiences and different ways that we've arrived to being part of this campus. So yeah, as Brenda mentioned, our campus is diverse in general in terms of having a majority of first-generation students. We're also a Hispanic serving institution, and we have a wide variety of people from many different backgrounds as part of our campus. Our campus is a little different than maybe other UC campuses, with international students being a significant population among our graduate student population, and it's a growing population in our undergrad group. And so we tend to have California State students largely, and there's been some initiatives to have different partnerships to diversify in a global context as well.
Thanks so much. I appreciate it. Anne, maybe you could start answering this question. How difficult or easy is it to apply for internships and or shadowing opportunities for students?
There are so many opportunities, and others may want to jump in on this. So Career Services has some really exciting internship opportunities. We have micro internships at our campus. And so if you're interested in interning locally for a short period of time or a long period of time, there are possibilities with that. We also have course credit options with interning. And so it's possible to have an internship arrangement and also partner with a faculty member to be earning credit. So yeah, there's a lot of possibilities locally as well as in your own region to either earn academic credit or to have some kind of support through either small fellowships. Oh, that's reminding me, there's one more thing. The Division of Undergraduate Education also has undergraduate research opportunities that run a little bit like an internship in that it's group study with a faculty member to work on a project, and that's in the arts, humanities, and social sciences. And so that's usually a team-based project that runs a lot like an internship.
Thanks so much. We'll have a few more questions about departments and programs after the next section.
So within our school, our school consists of 10 different departments. Within those departments, there are 15 majors and 18 minors. Some of those majors do have different emphasis as well as BA and BS options. So really, the number is a little higher than 15 if we take that into consideration. But as you can see in your screen, it's a wide range of disciplines of study, from anthropology to history, literatures and languages, political science, psychology, again. So wide array. And we do offer some minors that are not majors. So students are able to incorporate minors into their fields of study of interest. So for example, if a student is majoring in psychology, but they're interested in history, they are able to add on a minor onto their field of study. We also have students double majoring, meaning they are completing the requirements to leave UC Merced with 2 majors, and we also do have students who double major across schools, meaning a popular combination is psychology students double majoring within biological sciences, and we also do have some students double majoring within a School of Engineering major. So that is something that can be done. It does take a lot of planning and dedication on a student's part, but it's definitely something that can be done, and it's definitely an option for students. Our undergraduate degrees, currently Shaw serves over 3,400 students. We are the largest school, not only in the number of different programs, meaning majors and minors that we offer in comparison to the other 2 schools on our campus, but we also serve the most students. As you can see on your screens, we at least double the other 2 schools in the number of degrees that we have awarded, as well as we have more faculty that are part of our school as well. And you can also see that on your screens, 80% of our students are first-generation college students.
I would add to Brenda's comments about our degree programs that Shaw is also highly engaged in our general education program. And so there's a wide array of courses that are offered through departments that are meant for students in majors, but are also available for students across schools. And so that's another thing that can make being part of our courses really exciting in terms of real intellectual conversations that are from across different standpoints and experiences.
Thanks, Anne. That actually answers one of our questions, which is it possible to do a major and a minor across schools? And so, yes, absolutely, that is possible. A couple other questions that might be helpful to answer live that may be helpful for both of your input. What is the highest degree I can earn in English literature?
Oh, that's kind of a tricky question. So you can earn your Bachelor of Arts in English literature. And we also have an interdisciplinary humanities program at our campus, which includes literatures and languages. And so you could study the humanities in an interdisciplinary way with a focus and emphasis on literatures. So you could go all the way to the doctorate level. Yeah, and there's all sorts of opportunities in English literature in the area, like a master's in fine arts program at a nearby university as well, like UC Davis. So there's lots of things you can do with that degree.
Thank you so much. There's a couple questions that would be helpful to hear from you, Brenda, about that are very specific about like transferring credits from their community college to a public health degree, etc., and how they might transfer. How would you answer a question from a student related to that?
It will vary, and there's a lot of factors, and our colleagues from admissions are definitely the experts and can provide more information. But in order for a course to transfer to UC Merced, it needs to be UC transferable, meaning the course needs to be deemed to be able to transfer for a student to just be able to get unit credit at UC Merced or a UC campus specifically. Added to that is, in order for a course completed outside of UC Merced to satisfy a UC Merced requirement, whether it be a major requirement, a minor requirement, or even a general education requirement, the course has to be articulated. And that's essentially a fancy word to say that the faculty at UC Merced in the department that the student wishes to receive credit in for the course or courses they've completed need to review the course and determine that the content of the course that was completed is the same or very, very similar to the content that the student would have received or gone through, if you will, should they have completed the course. So it's a long, complicated answer because it's not very straightforward, and it varies course by course and where the course was completed and its transferability.
Thanks so much for sharing that, Brenda. I think that answer is helpful for our panelists to know that it can vary student by student, course by course as well. Two more, hopefully quick questions. Brenda, can you share what the major difference between a BA and a BS in cognitive science are?
Absolutely, great question. The major difference between the Bachelor of Arts and Bachelors of Sciences within cognitive science is the BS is more STEM focused, if you will. So it requires an additional engineering course. It requires an additional science course, as well as an additional calculus course that students have to complete. So again, it has a bit more of STEM or science courses that students would have to complete, making it a BS.
Thanks. One more question for now. Can a public health major become a physician's assistant, or what major might you recommend?
Any major. So at UC Merced, and yes, to answer that specific question, what's really going to be important is that a student works with our PreHealth academic advisors on campus. So students majoring in any of UC Merced's majors, so whether the major is housed within Shaw, the School of Natural Sciences, or the School of Engineering, if a student is intending to go into the medical field post UC Merced, it's really, they really do want to begin working with the PreHealth academic advisor as early on as possible to ensure that you're meeting those requirements that you will need to go on to whatever secondary graduate program you would need to attend to be able to work in the medical field that you're more interested in. So absolutely, you just really do want to make sure you're working with the PreHealth advisor as early on as possible.
If I could add something too, our campus has a really strong partnership with Mercy Hospital as far as student internship experiences. So shadowing, I think, was a word in the past question, and now it's coming back to me as Brenda's describing the health opportunities. I teach science writing, and I work with students who are in Shaw as well as over in the School of Natural Sciences, and many of them work over at Mercy Hospital shadowing and doing note-taking. And it's a really distinctive experience in terms of showing and building relationships with people in the healthcare profession. And so that's something, no matter what your degree, you can participate in.
Thank you both so much.
Okay, so that was an amazing segue into talking about internships and research experiences. Megan, you were reading our minds here. Okay, so we're going to dive into this a little bit, and then we'll pause and get back into questions. In Shaw, we have a lot of special programs, and there's a lot of opportunities to build either research experience or professional experience through these kinds of programs. We have several ways that you can participate in honors programming. So many degrees that we have in Shaw offer honor programming of various kinds. And so that's something to consider. We also have system-wide internships or professional experiences that are selective, but because our campus is small in comparison to other campuses, our students have a very good chance of being part of this kind of programming. So one is the UC Washington, DC experience, which is located in DC. It's both a curriculum as well as an internship experience. And so it's a mixture of academic and professional opportunity. It's available to any major, and it tends to be something that Shaw students are engaging in. We also have this neat program called UC Sacramento, which is a journalism program. It's a version of the DC program, except it's set in the California context. And so you get to work really closely with people who work in media and journalism and policy making, and also have internship experiences. So for any of us who are interested in civic engagement, this is incredible kinds of opportunities. We talked before about internships for academic credit, so that can be a partnership with a faculty member and work that you might have that's an internship in your hometown or locally, and so that can be a really exciting way to bridge the professional and the academic. Education abroad is really cool at our campus and is cool at every campus, I'm sure, but at our campus, we have traditional opportunities you'd expect that are summer long or during a semester. And there's also shorter opportunities to study abroad as well. And our campus also does a really good job of having the coursework that you're doing internationally connect with what you're working on with your degree. So you're keeping your momentum, and it's a great way to explore and learn about things. We also have a lot of research opportunities with our faculty, and that can be for credit, or it can be something that is done on a voluntary basis. And that can be working in labs with materials. It can be working on human subject research. It can even be working on media study or things that are in the arts and humanities. That brings me to the Center for Humanities. Every UC campus has a Center for Humanities, and each one has a different kind of local combination. And at our campus, there are quite a few opportunities for undergraduates to benefit from being part of the Center for Humanities. They recently had a medical humanities series that brought people who are in the medical field who do artistic work to come and give talks. And as someone who helped introduce a couple speakers, what really struck me is that half the audience were undergrads. So students really show up for these talks, and that's really cool as a community. And then this one might look a little weird, but the School of Natural Sciences has an education minor, and believe it or not, most of the students who are part of that minor degree program are from our school. And this is an opportunity to build an education degree that maps onto local credentialing to complete your work in becoming a teacher. So that's another really cool special program for Shaw students. There are also extracurricular experiences that are really exciting. And so I'm just going to broadcast our student association, Shaw Frontline. This was an idea that a student a year and a half ago brought to our dean, Jeff Gilger, and said, you know, I really think we should have a student association in Shaw. And he said yes, and everything has been kind of history from there, where students from various affiliated clubs and organizations have an executive board, and we're working towards collaborations. And early in the spring, we're going to have a mini conference on leadership, and Brenda's been part of those conversations with student leads, and it's been really exciting to have that be part of our school. So students have the best ideas. That's the message there.
Thanks so much, Anne. There are a few more questions that we have listed. One more specific to research and internships. What is the best path to take to work in the psychological research being conducted at UC Merced?
I was just thinking the best way to head towards any internship is to build relationships. And so being an active member of your class and talking with faculty and graduate students about your interests, and internship opportunities are posted and available. And I think just making those connections as a student is a great way to get that started, so that you're a strong applicant when those opportunities arise. And there's also research credit that you can do for course credit. And so just being very involved in your degree and being successful is really a lot of it.
One thing I recommend students do, aside from what Anne just shared, is engaging in conversations with your instructors during their office hours. You know, it can sound and be a bit intimidating for some students, but it's really a great opportunity for students to not only have any questions that they have regarding the content or the material that they're covering in class, but it's also another great opportunity for students to begin building those relationships with faculty.
Thank you. Looks like we have 2 law school law interest type questions. So Brenda, is it possible to major in psychology with an emphasis in law as a minor or something like that?
Psychology currently doesn't have, at least at UC Merced, does not have an emphasis in law. Students can definitely major in psychology and add political science as a minor and take courses within the political science department that are geared more towards law. There are a couple. So specifically, like officially declare law, that's currently not an option, but you can definitely create a combination to really get what you're trying to get out of.
And to add to Brenda's comment, the greatest number of students who have gone to law school have been from the psychology and sociology program. So there is a strong record of that degree program. And Brenda, is there a law clinic on campus or a couple of opportunities to get some law experience that could pair up with any degree?
Yes, there's a student organization in the law clinic that you mentioned. Unfortunately, there isn't pre-law academic advising currently like there is pre-health, but there's other resources available for students, as well as working with our shock career specialist, Leslie Jurgensen.
Awesome. Thank you so much. You both shared information that I was thinking of, so it validated it for me. Just a reminder to our students that you don't have to major in political science to go to law school or to be interested in being a lawyer or something like that. There is a question about law schools and whether we know off the top of your head, and perhaps since you know that data, which law schools in the area are students going to who are majoring in that psychology and sociology? Do you have an idea for that?
That's a great question. And I'm sorry I don't have that at my fingertips, but what does, if it's helpful to mention just as a different way to look at it, for students who go on to graduate school, it's at a high rate. The highest rate is to the CSUs and also to the UCs. So where we do have law school placement, it would be within the state of California largely, but not exclusively.
Thank you. So Brenda, when you're talking to students about the differences between a psychology BA and a cognitive science BA or BS, what do you share with them about the major differences between those programs?
Cognitive science is going to be more neurological, if you will, as well as like linguistic. Cognitive science in itself is one of our majors that can be very interdisciplinary. So students are able to take courses in biological sciences or even engineering to satisfy some major requirements, aside from those in those other schools that are required, absolute requirements of the major. So it's more, cognitive science would be more interdisciplinary, where psychology is more like psychological.
And the psychology program, Brenda, I'm hoping you can help fill in my gap here, but they do have emphasis areas like in child development, and that's tied to research lab opportunities, internship opportunities. So with the focus on the behavioral and the psychological components, it's in different kinds of populations. And then the psych program also has a quantitative psychology focus that is really distinctive and interesting in terms of different ways of thinking about the relationship between human behavior and mathematical models.
Yeah, the psychology major requires students to take a course that focuses in cognition, brain, and behavior, one in social personality development, and one in applied. So those aspects are automatically incorporated into the major itself, but students can definitely take courses as part of the elective requirements within the major, geared more towards their specific area of interest.
Thank you. So I'm going to head over to the humanities now because our School of Social Sciences, Humanities and Arts is so diverse in our programming. How would you describe, I'm combining a couple of questions, but would you say UC Merced's a place for artists and musicians?
100% yes, for a couple of reasons. So our arts program is global arts, and so it's got a comprehensive combination of music, dance, studio work, theoretical work, and we do a lot of work in our community as well, where we have community ensembles that are downtown at the Merced Arts Center. Our city is also working on a arts and culture district that's been really vibrant, and that's been a combination of a partnership with the university as well as the arts program on campus. So yeah, if you're interested in being a musician or building a professional career, there are a lot of people at our campus who work in that area. And our work in media is not just in the arts, but it's in collaboration with faculty in the sciences as well. We have some really interesting spaces in terms of studio space. And so there's also the possibility of producing work. And the arts program has internships within the program, so you can get a lot of applied experience. One of my students is a professional musician who majored in literature and art and has been part of Shakespeare in the Park and has really done a lot with her music career in terms of building a practical knowledge about sound and media. So absolutely, there's a lot you can do with that.
Thanks so much, Anne. So it looks like we're coming down to time a little bit, but we might be able to squeeze in a couple more questions if that's all right. So Brenda, I think that these might be more directed to you as our lead academic advisor. We have a student who's interested in both accounting and environmental studies, leaning towards public health. Is there a way they can study both but not double major, or is there an interdisciplinary study that they can pursue?
Definitely being able to take courses within all of those areas. You can incorporate the courses that you're not interested in majoring in as part of your general education requirements, right? Because then not only are you getting to take courses in areas that are really of interest to you, but you're also getting some requirements out of the way. So for sure, depending on what your major ends up being and what requirements of that major you have to satisfy, you might have some elective courses you may need to take to satisfy unit count requirements. So that's another way, aside from using those courses to satisfy general education requirements, that you could take the courses in different areas of interest for you.
Thank you. We've actually gotten a couple more questions come through, so I'm going to try to answer these. So would majoring in English literature and minoring in psychology be possible? I think we all say yes.
For sure.
Awesome. Is it hard to change your major if you realize you want to study something else?
No, but you really do want to make the decision sooner rather than later. So I would recommend absolutely knowing what you're going to major in no later than like the start of your third year. And that's just to ensure that you're able to progress in your intended major and that your graduation isn't delayed. So definitely you can change your major, but really sooner rather than later is better, just so that your graduation time doesn't become extended.
Thank you, Brenda. We have one last question I think we can sneak in. If someone wanted to be a dentist, who would they talk to? How do they find out what course of study might be the best for them?
PreHealth Advising. They really do help students in a wide array of medical graduate programs, so really PreHealth Advising is a great resource because it's likely that they have some requirements already on their website that you can even access now, but if they don't, they can point you in the right direction of how to find the information.
Thanks, Brenda. The other part of that question was just also generally, if I know what kind of job I want, how do I find out which course of study? And I think we've shared it earlier in our presentation that the Center for Career and Professional Advancement is a really great resource. And I'd also like to add that our faculty are great resources too. If you choose that, maybe you're really interested in political science, but you want to be a dentist, let's go talk to the political science faculty and also go talk to that pre-health advisor because you'll be able to get the information across UC Merced and apply it. And then as our Associate Dean Zanzuki shared, there are so many internship and research opportunities on campus, and you would be able to reach out to faculty and connect in those ways as well, so that you can cover your interests as a musician, as an artist, as a political scientist, to be a lawyer or whatnot, but also be able to move in your academic coursework too. So thank you so much for listening to us today and for asking so many great questions.
Well, thank you, Anne. Thank you, Brenda and Megan, for all of your hard work on the presentation tonight. We truly appreciate it. We do have several more events planned throughout the remainder of November. To find those, please visit admissions.ucmerced.edu/discover. We also have recordings of previous webinars that we have done over the course of the last month and a half for you to visit there as well. Also, just a reminder that the application deadline for all University of California's campuses is 11:59 p.m. on November 30th. We do have 2 webinars dedicated specifically to last-minute application assistance on November 24th and November 30th from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. We'll have our admissions evaluators, our admissions recruiters, all there to answer your questions one-on-one to help you fill out and submit the application to UC Merced and the other UCs as well. From all of us here at UC Merced, thank you for attending today's Discover the University of California Merced's Spotlight on the School of Social Sciences, Humanities and Arts. We hope everyone stays healthy out there, and we hope to see you in the spring or in the fall. Thank you.